Stay tuned for the Splash Live. It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the Greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Jake Schaff, going over all of the biggest news and events from right here in Greater West Bloomfield. In just 1 month, some of your favorite Laker football legends are going to the big stage. The 2025 NFL Draft takes place Thursday, April 24th through Saturday, April 26th at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Here with some more info on some of the Laker legends up for the draft, live from the West Bloomfield High School football field, is our very own Kevin McIntosh.
Thanks, Jake. Yes, I'm live right outside what we consider the swamp right here in the West Bloomfield community. But this is the Gridiron, the West Bloomfield Lakers football field where a lot of our community Gridiron heroes have played and performed well right here on this field. Now it looks like many of them are looking to head to the next chapter in their athletic careers. And some of those notable names, I should say, that are looking to officially go to the NFL and declare for the 2025 NFL Draft that'll be at Lambeau Field Thursday, April 24th through Saturday, April 26th. That include names linebacker Jason Williams from Ferris State, one of the core of the front seven attackers for the Lakers. We also have Tyrone Broden, wide receiver during the Ron Bellamy era as well. Lance Dixon, University of Toledo, who helped revolutionize the Lakers jet sweep as well. Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky, defensive back. Also recorded one of the fastest 40-yard dash in the combine. And, of course, Donovan Edwards, Michigan, who also won the state championship with West Bloomfield, a championship with Michigan as well, also was on the cover of the College Football 25 EA Sports game cover as well. And recently, West Bloomfield football coach Zach Hilbers told our Tyler Keefe, while Donovan Edwards had big expectations, he and his fellow alum put in the work to make their college and NFL dreams become a reality.
Donovan was kind of pegged as this guy who's got a real good shot to make it from a young age. So I think for him to realize potential and get there is a great testament to his work ethic, because, you know, it's tough when you're 15 and 16 years old and everybody tells you how great you're going to be to, I guess, stay motivated and keep your goals, focused on your goals, and to do everything it takes to get where he's got. So he deserves a ton of credit for that. You know, some of those other guys, kind of the other side of it, that might have not have thought when they were here in high school they would get to this point, and they used it as, I guess, motivation to get where they are. They all got their own strengths, but I guess the common theme throughout is that they never lost faith or belief in their goal, and they worked really hard to get where they're at.
And Coach Hilbers has been hard at work during the draft process, particularly participating in the scouting of his former athletes, which he also told us recently right here on The Splash.
Some people will give you a phone call. Some organizations give you a phone call and just want to run stuff by you. Some people just show up here unannounced because they want to hear, like, the honest truth. They don't want you to, I guess, prepare any kind of narrative about the kids. They'll just show up at the school door, sit down and just ask questions about the guys. So it's kind of crazy, I guess, the depths of the detail that those franchises go through, just kind of doing their homework and background check. And I read these to the kids in our program now. Like, this is the Green Bay Packers 5 years later asking, did these kids show up to class on time? Were they active in their school? Were they ever a discipline problem? Like, all the stuff you tell them is important kind of makes it a little bit more of a reality.
And despite all the praise and accomplishments, Coach Hilbers and his colleagues are proud of their former players chasing their dreams and say that this is the best part of this moment.
It's really exciting because we know, for a lot of times, we've known these kids for a really long time. In addition to those two, like Mac Harrison just finished up in Kentucky. He was with us ever since he was a little baby, it feels like. Lance Dixon, who's at Toledo, they'll have really good shots as well. Makari Page, who's a safety at Michigan. Yeah. So we got 5 at least that I think have a really good chance, at least this draft cycle. And it's just so cool. You know, they were running around here not too long ago with these big dreams of getting to this moment and be this close. I don't know. It's kind of neat to see.
And as Coach Hilbers just said, just reiterating a lot of things and a lot of accomplishments that his players have achieved over the years, and especially right here on the gridiron in West Bloomfield. We also recently spoke, or we actually had some time to get some information, some different clips from one of the players, also Maxwell Hairstein. Back in his time at West Bloomfield, Hairstein told our Dave Scott about his hobbies off the football field, which are a bit telling about how he made his NFL dreams actually come true.
I always like to ask this at the end of these interviews. What do you do when you're not practicing or playing football? What do you do with your time for the fun of it?
You got to watch film. I watched 3 hours last night.
There's no fun. It's football season. Well, come on. I mean, don't you like play video games, or you got a hobby or something you do when you're not working on football?
I'll take a break, but I got to get back to the film.
And that's right. And before he actually moved to Kentucky, Hairstone, I should say, told our Tyler Keith advice to future Laker football players on how to be successful here in West Bloomfield. Advice that may see their NFL dreams also come true.
I would just say, don't give up. Compete. And, just let things fall into place. Don't ever get discouraged because something's not going your way, because you never know what God has in store for you. And I learned that because I used to get discouraged, like, man, I'm not seeing the field as much as I want to, this and that. But all I had to do is just put my head down and go to work, and it paid off.
And we will continue to have more insight into the draft later on this week, learning more about these Lakers legends and what they will do and achieve in their later on careers. Right here reporting live from West Bloomfield High School Swamp Football Field, I'm Kevin McIntosh, Civic Center TV. Back to you, Jake.
Man, we've got some future NFL stars in the making. I can't wait to see what's to come with the NFL draft. Kevin, thank you so much for relaying this information and for this story.
Thank you.
Man, we've got a lot to look forward to with the NFL draft and some big Laker stars that are going to be taking the next step in their football careers, and maybe, possibly, some of them making their way right here to Michigan to play for the Lions. Can't wait to see what's to come with all of these players. Spring is here, and that means West Bloomfield's pickleball and tennis courts are officially open. Whether you're a seasoned player or just picking up a paddle, now's the time to get outside and enjoy the game. But the more experienced pickleball player should be anything but rusty, as all throughout the winter season, indoor pickleball options have been available, including the courts at the Sports Club of West Bloomfield. I stopped by their building a while back to see how people have been getting their fix on their favorite sport all winter long.
So this is the second year of the Detroit Pickleball League. I was part of the inaugural season last year, and it was an absolute blast. So I'm back here doing it again. And anytime I get a chance to play, whether it be a league or for fun, I'm all about it whenever my schedule allows.
I think it's fantastic. I play pickleball sometimes twice a day, but every day. And there's not a pickleball court that I haven't played on. I go everywhere, so I love it.
What would you say are some of the biggest differences from playing it outdoors as opposed to playing indoors as you are right now?
Oh, well, there's a lot of differences. First of all, outside you have to deal with the wind. That's the biggest thing. But once you get used to playing in the wind, it's kind of fun. Obviously, with inside, you've got deals with room, if you can get around, if you can serve comfortably. Sometimes lighting is not great inside, but of course, you have good weather inside all the time, so you can play anytime.
I like it because you don't have to worry about the sun in your eyes, don't have to worry about putting sunblock on, and all that good stuff. Or if it's raining, sometimes I've had so many plans ruined because of the rain when I play outdoors. So I really like indoors a lot. It does take a lot of adjusting if you're playing on a gym floor surface, on the other hand, because there are some places that the only option is gym floor surface, and that is a big adjustment because the floor is so different than the dedicated pickleball surface or like a tennis court surface.
We play until we're told we can't play outside. The nets are taken down and we have to find a place indoors, whether it be here at Sports Club or somewhere else down the road at Pickle Rage or Farmington Hills or in the east side over at Bass Pickleball Club. So we find our way to indoors. We embrace it, whether it's be at the YMCA or community center. We're here in Michigan. We'll play wherever.
How great is it to have seen this sport's impact on a community like West Bloomfield?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, we have more courts coming out outside every year. You see different municipalities offering more courts because that's what we want. Sometimes it takes numbers to get those courts for us to enjoy. But whether it's outside or indoors, I think that more facilities are offering those programming opportunities for people to play, whether it be drop-in on weekends or ladder leagues during the week or weekends. It's just a fun sport.
Yeah, I think the pickleball community in West Bloomfield has been great. I've played here for several years before I even did the Detroit Pickleball League. And there's more facilities popping up. There's another place called Pickle Rage that just opened up, which is brand new. That's a great new indoor place with dedicated pickleball courts, and I love to see it. The more courts, the better, so I love it.
You can check out the indoor courts for yourself at the Sports Club of West Bloomfield, just off of Farmington Road, right before West Maple. You can also check out the outdoor courts at Drake, Bloomer, Keith, and Marshbank Parks. Their restrooms are set to open the second week of April, and playgrounds will be ready as soon as the frost melts from the wood chips. For more details on park facilities and opening schedules, call 248-451-1900. So grab your gear, hit the courts, and enjoy the fresh air of the season. Jewish Senior Life has launched a senior education program with local universities. It's called the Live and Learn Community and provided seniors the chance to continue their education efforts and brings the university aspect of college right to JSL. Recently, I spoke with Nancy Siegel-Heinrich to learn more about the program. Nancy Siegel-Heinrich joining us right now. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm really good, and I'm really interested to get into this conversation. It really captured my attention. So let's get into the Live and Learn community with Jewish Senior Life. How did that idea get started?
So, all across the country, there are some university towns that have built some senior complexes right on the campus. And those communities allow the residents, the senior residents, to come in and learn with the students. I love that idea. I've always felt like the best thing in the world to do in retirement would be to go back to college, to learn with friends, and especially if tests were not involved or writing papers. So I knew I couldn't bring our residences to a campus, and it would be difficult to bring my residents to campuses outside of our immediate environment. So I thought, why not bring the university to our communities, which is what we've done.
And that is amazing. That's great that you're able to provide that immersive, that true college experience to these seniors. And you're doing so with the partnership from Oakland University. How does that help to enhance the educational experience for the seniors?
Well, Oakland University has the highest level of educational offerings around. And we just enjoy their faculty so much and the range of classes that they can bring to our residents. The content has been superb that they've helped us provide. So it's been an unbelievable partnership.
I can imagine so. And I'm really curious to ask, what are some of the classes that this program helps to offer for the seniors at Jewish Senior Life?
You know, if you don't mind, I'm going to read about some of them on my cheat sheet here because I don't want to get the nature of these classes at all incorrect. American political institutions, Congress, the presidency, and the Supreme Court. And now a word from our sponsor, a look back at early TV advertising. Everything you need to know about artificial intelligence, but we're afraid to ask. A history, La Traviata, opera at its finest. Our residents are just thriving with this classwork. It's unbelievable.
Wow, some of those classes sound really, really interesting. I'm curious in checking some of them out myself. But what are some of the key benefits that some of these older adults experience from participating in these educational programs with JSL?
So, of course, they get intellectual stimulation and learning opportunities and growth opportunities. But beyond all of that great benefit of exercising your mind, staying young, is the socialization of learning together. Our residents, even though they are in close community with one another, now have opportunities to share meaningful conversations about content that they've learned together. So socialization is a huge key to this.
Absolutely. This would provide much more opportunities for these seniors to communicate with one another, forming these bonds all over a shared interest in the classes that they're taking. That sounds incredible. For those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, we have the CEO of Jewish Senior Life, Nancy Siegel-Heinrich, joining us right now on the Splash to talk about the Live and Learn community program that's happening with Jewish Senior Life. And having had this program for a while now, what has been some of the feedback from the seniors who've participated in this?
The seniors are just so thrilled. We've had people say this is the best experience of their life, or they feel young again, or they're just delighted to have these opportunities. So as the CEO of an organization that supports older adults, there's no more beautiful feeling than that you're supporting your residents in their continued growth. It's beautiful.
I can imagine so. It sounds like a very beautiful experience. I can also imagine that maybe there's some seniors who might need a little bit of help to get started and to get things going with classes like these. So what unique strategies does Jewish Senior Life use to foster engagement and connection among these residents during these courses?
So what we do is we offer an entire range of opportunities. We have small learning opportunities that are suitable for some folks, where you might be together with 4 or 5 students and be in a writing seminar or a short story seminar. Then we have lecture styles that are larger and more about the give and take between the professor and the resident. And we also provide outings that are related to the content that we share with them. So, for instance, our class on La Traviata went to the Michigan Opera Theater to see the opera. So they got to engage at an even more personal level with the actual content and the principles of the theater.
Wow, very immersive experiences. I like that in giving these seniors the opportunity to see some of these courses and see some of these shows up close. I really love hearing about that. And how does the Live and Learn community contribute to the physical, social, and emotional wellness of the JSL residents?
Well, of course, there is a trend in older adults to cocoon and not be as social as they could be. So the first thing that happens is people come out of their apartments for these special opportunities and they get to be together. So there's that socialization aspect. There's the activity of going to and from the classes and sharing in our graduation ceremonies. So when you stimulate the mind and you stimulate socialization, the benefits of increased longevity, better cognition, keeping your mind active, all of those things together, it's magic.
Well, I'm really excited to be hearing about this program. I hope it sticks around for a very long time, Nancy. One more quick question before we let you go. How do you hope to see the Live and Learn program expand, and what are your goals to expanding it to other residences?
So we are anxious to expand the program to all of our communities. We have 6 communities on 2 campuses, one in West Bloomfield and one in Oak Park. We have independent living, assisted living, and memory care. And we have market rate communities and HUD subsidized communities. And we feel that content at this college level is appropriate for everyone. So we are out there obtaining funding as we can to make sure that we can bring this experience to all of our residents on all of our campuses in all of our buildings. So it's just an opportunity that we think is so perfect to engage our residents and to enrich their lives, which is part of our mission, a huge part of our mission. And of course, we are Jewish Senior Life, but we're open to people of all faiths and beliefs, and we welcome everybody to come live with us and learn with us.
I want to see this program expand as far as it can go. I can't wait to see what's to come in the future. Nancy, thank you so much for joining us today here on The Splash Live.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Such a wonderful program with Jewish Senior Life. I can't wait to see what's to come with the program in the future. Big thank you to Nancy for stopping by and for telling that conversation right here on The Splash Live. The Detroit to Nepal Foundation is doing all sorts of work to help people overseas. The initiative was established in 2010 with the mission to provide sustainable support to grassroots, community-based programs in Detroit neighborhoods and remote villages in Nepal, where significant needs in power, sanitation, clean water, healthcare, and education were identified. Yesterday, I had the chance to speak with Detroit to Nepal's co-founder, Dr. Richard Kaiden, to hear about what the foundation has accomplished and how residents can help.
Hi, Jake. Nice to be here.
Really happy to have you with us. Really interested in getting into this conversation because it's such a cool thing what you're doing in helping all of these people out in Nepal. Can you give us some of the latest construction updates that have been taking place in Nepal recently?
Sure. The most recent work is following the 2023 earthquake that had the epicenter in Jadrakot in western Nepal. And for the first 14 years, we've been working pretty much exclusively in Kotang in eastern Nepal. But because of this very devastating earthquake, we shifted over there. And for the first year, just provided emergency relief responding to the villages. They would communicate with us what they needed just to survive the winter. They had no homes, no food, no supplies. So it's just a matter of sending them tarps and tents and blankets and food and medicine and any emergency resources. People that were injured were evacuated. Pregnant women were brought down for care. Children that were rendered orphans because of the earthquake were brought down to one of my colleagues who runs Kapila Children's Home for orphans and a very nice school. So we were very busy the first year just with emergency relief trying to get them through. Now that things have kind of settled down from the acute phase, we've asked them what their priorities are, and they've been schools and homes. So we are working with our ground partner, Build Up Nepal, building earthquake-resistant schools and homes. The communities learn how to use compressed sustainable earth bricks, which is a very eco-friendly way to build with earthquake-resistant technique. The eco bricks are made from either sand and soil or crushed stone, and they're made on site by the locals. So we train masons to make the bricks on site. You can see a picture there of they look like Legos. And interestingly enough, about 37% of the air pollution in Nepal is from firing bricks. So just in and by itself, you're preventing a lot of pollution, plus you're using local resources, both the materials as well as the manpower to make these bricks. They're then put together with technology that is earthquake resistant with cement and rebar. It's a time-proven technology. And basically the communities learn how to make the bricks and use this technology while building a community building like the school. And then they form a micro enterprise. They buy the equipment needed, which is about $5,000 or $6,000 for all the supplies they need to partake in this construction. They form their microenterprise, and then they're responsible for building homes. And again, using the same earthquake-resistant technique. And the government is giving each household that was destroyed $3,200 towards this effort, and a two-room home, which is earthquake-resistant, costs about $5,600. The other $2,400 is a lot of that is manpower, transport, local supplies. So it's not all just cash. So the locals, for the vast majority, can come up with the extra money. And then instead of building a stone and mud mortar home again, which will collapse and potentially take lives with the next earthquake, you've got an earthquake-resistant home. And with this technique, it's allowing us just to teach them the technology. And once they learn the technology and form the microenterprises, they'll be monitoring for this supervision to make sure that everything's being done as up to code and as well as possible.
Wow, that is a lot of incredible things that you were doing over in Nepal, and it's fascinating to hear about the measures that you're taking. You talked about the earthquake-resistant materials that you're using to help build these buildings so that hopefully history does not repeat itself. So that is great to hear of everything that you're doing. But I would imagine that all of this work that you're doing out in Nepal, I'd imagine that it isn't easy. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've dealt with in the work that you've done in Nepal since the 2023 earthquake?
Well, the biggest challenge probably is just the remoteness of these villages. We're not working in urban areas, and just to get to these sites is quite problematic. Now, I've been going to Nepal since 1983, but we started the nonprofit 15 years ago, and just in the last 15 years, a lot of things have changed where there are roads which are basically can accommodate trailers, tractors, and very rugged vehicles, because before, even 15 years ago, everything was taken in by either human or pack animals. So it was very, very complicated. So the remoteness is getting a little easier to tackle, but still getting supplies to these remote areas is quite challenging.
You just touched on something. You said that you've been going to Nepal, I believe you said since the early 80s. And I'm curious, what motivates you personally to continue leading and expanding the D2N Foundation?
Well, I first went to Nepal like most people. They go for the Himalayas to climb. And I was an outdoor guy when I was younger. I still enjoy the outdoors. So I went there purely for selfish reasons. But after a while, as things evolved, I had the opportunities to form a nonprofit, which is really a privilege to work with these individuals. The Nepalese are great people, great families. They're motivated. They're very industrious. You give them opportunities and they'll take them. Again, we're not doing a lot of the construction. We're doing the education and monitoring. So they're taking all this upon themselves. We're working right now in 20 sites. In all these 20 sites, there'll be micro enterprises forming, and they'll be in charge of the building, again, with supervision. But again, it's on them, and they're very, very capable and very excited to take this work on. We expect just with this initial investment at these 20 sites, we'll have at least 1,250 homes being built. I sent you some pictures of some of those sample homes, and that's for an initial investment this year of $125,000. So if you do the math, that's costing $100 is going to result in having an earthquake-resistant home like you see there, which is going to stand up to the next earthquake and be very resilient and very much appreciated. So you always want to have impact when you're looking for charities and ways to carry out your philanthropic ideas. But this is something where, again, literally $100 will eventuate in having a home like this built for a family. And over the next 6 to 7 years, this is going to spill over to another 40 micro enterprises probably being formed in these same 20 areas, 20 villages. So we'll see, based on prior results after the 2015 earthquake, probably over 4,000 homes being built for a total investment of about $300,000. So that's about $75 resulting in a home, in a safe home. So, this is very, very impactful. We're very excited. And it's a privilege to be able to do things like this.
You should be very excited. For those just joining us right now on The Splash, we have co-founder of the Detroit to Nepal Foundation, Dr. Richard Kaiden, joining us right now to talk about the foundation's work overseas in Nepal, building homes and schools and all sorts of other buildings as a result of the 2023 earthquake, helping the community get back to what it was. And you guys are always looking for donations to help the foundation and to help continue to continue everything that you're doing out in Nepal. Tell us a little bit on how people can get involved with this foundation.
Sure. Well, again, as you mentioned, it costs funds, and it's amazing the impact we can with relatively modest funds, but still it costs funds. And people can go to our website, detroittonepal.org, and donate right on the website. Right now, I'm doing a birthday fundraiser for my 70th birthday in 2 weeks. And I'm going to match everyone's donation for the first $10,000, so we can double your impact. And $100 donation will result in 2 homes being built. So, we just need money. We do not need actual, humans to volunteer over in Nepal. We've always had the philosophy that the Nepalese are very capable, and 100% of the work is being carried out by them. So, again, we need your dollars. We appreciate your dollars, and the only way we can do this work is with your support.
I'm so glad you just mentioned something. You talked about the event that you're doing throughout your birthday month for your 70th birthday to match the donations of what people are donating. Could you talk a little bit about how that idea came to be?
Well, every year I do a birthday match to try to help, motivate people. And again, what I do is I ask people for money all the time. And, you've got to get skin in the game yourself. I can't ask people for money without putting my own money into this as well. As a rule, I put in 10% personal money for any of our projects. So I'm very much involved. And, when I go to Nepal, I pay for my plane ticket, I pay for my hotels, I pay for transportation over there. So I want people to know that when they give $1 to Detroit to Nepal, it goes to the work, whether the work is in Detroit or in Nepal. And, I want you to know you're getting a bang for your buck, and I'm in it with you.
That's great. I love hearing about that because it shows how much you care about this foundation by setting that example and by putting in that money yourself. And Richard, with all of the work that you do in Nepal and all the times you've been there, could you possibly share a personal story of a student or a family that's positively been impacted by Detroit to Nepal's efforts?
There's so many stories. I can't really think of one individual, but the thing that all the work we do, first of all, is responding to priorities that they identify, not that we identify. And when we started working, just for an example, we started with just going in there. I was on an advisory board for a medical school at the time in the Kathmandu Valley, and I went to this village area with a medical student and a public health expert just to do some assessments of what's up. And we soon learned that all the water taps, even though these were Himalayan springs that where the water was originating from, all these were contaminated with fecal coliforms, which is essentially the from your stool. And so when I went back 3 months later, they said, Dr. Richard, we want toilets. So they were able to identify, without me saying anything, that they wanted to prioritize toilets, realizing that it's one thing when you can treat infections, but if you can prevent infections, it's much more effective. So again, it's not an individual story of one person, but it's really of them collectively. They are intelligent. They understand their needs. They know what they need for themselves and their children more than I could ever understand. And, we follow their direction, and they were able to figure out, it's much more important to start with public health than to actually look for healthcare. So, there's so many stories. But again, I think just to look at them collectively, they're highly motivated, they're intelligent, they're capable of carrying out these projects, whether they're toilets or building medical clinics or schools or earthquake relief. It's just that it's a very poor country and they lack resources. And just with a little bit of help, it's amazing what they're able to do with very modest resources.
A little bit goes a long way. You always love to hear about stories like this. Dr. Kaiden, thank you so much for joining with us today on The Splash. One more quick question before I let you go, though. What lessons have you learned personally from your experiences with D2N that might inspire others to get involved with more humanitarian work?
Oh, it's just such an individual thing. I think, probably the biggest lesson I've learned is just how to learn how to listen again. I'm a cancer surgeon, so I spend all day talking to patients, all day giving advice, all day teaching medical students or residents. So I'm a really good talker and probably was not a very good listener. So starting the foundation and working with the foundation, I've had to relearn how to listen so I could listen to learn. So, that's probably the biggest lesson I've learned, just because of my, particular circumstances. But it is so important that we don't be arrogant when we have ideas of philanthropy, and don't think that because we're in a very wealthy country and we've had the luxury of high education and a lot of material wealth and a lot of amazing experiences, we can't be arrogant to think that we know what's best for other people. So again, just to sit and learn, and just to learn to listen again so they can teach us what they need and how to do it. And it's very humbling.
Learn to listen again. A powerful message for everybody to remember. Dr. Kaiden, thank you so much for joining us today on The Splash Live, and thank you so much for everything that you do.
My pleasure.
A very enlightening conversation with Dr. Richard Kaiden. It's awesome to hear about all the great work that him and the team are doing all the way over in Nepal. And if you watching at home are interested in learning more about the foundation and looking to donate yourself, you can check out more information on their website, Detroit2Nepal.org, to find out more information. Once again, that's Detroit2Nepal.org. Plenty of other great stories and great topics to get into right here in Greater West Bloomfield, and we're going to get into those topics right after the break. Live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Bringing you stories and memories from Kego Harbor. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
When you have a gambling problem, you have a money problem. Don't let your gambling cause you financial hardship. If you or someone you love is struggling with gambling, we can help. Get free confidential counseling and win your life back. Learn more at michigan.gov/problemgambling.
Hi, I'm Chris Fry, Park Superintendent, West Bloomfield Parks. Congratulations, Civic Center TV, on 1 million views on YouTube. Thank you for all you do in the community, and thank you for having me on The Splash throughout the season to talk about activities out in the parks. Chris Fry, proud to be 1 in a million.
And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Jake Schaff, going over all of the biggest news and events from right here in Greater West Bloomfield. And Greater West Bloomfield has several connections to major historical events. And tonight, you can learn all about West Bloomfield's connections to a very significant event during a presentation at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. It's called Mary Parker, William Taylor, and Other Freedom Seekers Researching the Underground Railroad in Oakland County. The presentation is being done by Carol Egbo and was put together by the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. Gina Gregory from the Society recently spoke with our own Tyler Kieft about some of these connections that you may not be aware of to the Underground Railroad.
Here for more on that special presentation from the Historical Society is their president, Gina Gregory. Gina, thank you so much for being with us today. Appreciate you coming on to preview this special event and take a look at our really interesting history here in West Bloomfield.
Good morning, Good morning, Tyler. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic and hope you are well as we get ready for this about a week from the time that we are recording this and having this first live with us on the air is when this presentation is going to happen. It takes a different perspective. We showed a video recently, and we've been airing this video for a long time on Civic Center TV about the Michigan connection to the Underground Railroad featuring in Farmington and in West Bloomfield. But we're kind of taking this upcoming presentation at the library county-wide. Tell us a little bit about the experts that will be presenting this and what the story they'll be telling this time about our local connection to the Underground Railroad.
Well, this presentation, I think, was developed as a part of this program, and researchers have been very active looking for our West Bloomfield history. I always recall probably during COVID or so, West Bloomfield Parks asked me who were the significant Black people early in West Bloomfield, and I had no knowledge at that time. So since then, we've been researching, and we're fortunate to have a volunteer researcher who is very able to look online and know how to use archives and find more and more. And I got an email from him yesterday, literally saying, in summation, the more you look, the more you find. So this project, led by Leslie Pilek at the Birmingham Museum, has now found more evidence about 1903 about Ellis Mason from his obituary. And he was an enslaved person who came to West Bloomfield to live the rest of his life. And the obituary shows that he lived on land a half mile from Walnut Lake Road. And when our researchers learned that, they were able to, Sue Williams was able to look through our reference material, our archives, our collection, and find 1980 testimony from a donation that we had received. And it references the Cooney farm as well as the adjacent people that Ellis interacted with. And then the stories were also passed down from grandmas and aunts and uncles. So all these things together piece together more of the story of what was happening here in West Bloomfield. So very exciting. Carol probably has that information, and we'll be rolling it into her presentation about all of Oakland County as I see it. So she will tweak her presentation to us. So we're looking forward to that and having people attend live. And I also understand the Civic Center TV will be recording that. So that'll be an awesome way to hear the latest in a presentation format.
Yeah, we certainly encourage people to come out to the library on Wednesday, March 26th, 7 p.m. for this presentation. Really fascinating stuff because we're taking a look at this from a county perspective. This particular expert is an Oakland County Parks historian, but we'll also, as you said, Gina, be kind of taking this through the lens of our community proper and its direct connections to the Underground Railroad. But what we were saying about Sue Williams and others and their research sort of piecing all of this together over recent years really goes to the crux of what the Historical Society and its volunteers do every single day. Just take us through a little bit of the legwork that people that are essentially our local historians are putting forth to tell these important stories of our history in Greater West Bloomfield.
Absolutely. And it's through sharing that happens. If they were each their own little silos, not sharing, they wouldn't get very far. So the communication between people and the interest and the ability to respond in a timely way just really keeps the enthusiasm and the interest rolling and the possibility to move forward. It's all, can be a long time process. And we're just fortunate to have people right here in West Bloomfield who are committed to that.
And there's competing theories that history is a revolving door, that history, it doesn't repeat itself, but it kind of mirrors itself throughout the generations. And so as we look back on the Underground Railroad's connection to our community, it helped people get to freedom. It helped people from diverse communities in comparison to the large population demographics of our community at that time in history get to freedom. And now today we look at our community as being this big melting pot, a number of different cultures, ethnic backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds. How do you think that those connections historically maybe led us to being such a diverse and ultimately welcoming community that we are today?
Well, I would look at it from the lens that we've had a story that you only can talk about what you know. So we've picked up things over the years, and it seems to paint a story. Yet the more you look, the more you find, and then you have to take that and incorporate it into your story, and you get a fuller story. And so we benefit from that. The people who were involved with the Underground Railroad, it seems that there were many of them in West Bloomfield. It literally seems that the homeowners in the area of Orchard Lake Road and Walnut Lake Road were involved, as well as by Pontiac Trail and Orchard Lake Road, and probably to the west of that, were all involved. So it's just interesting to see that that was there. And probably we didn't know that so much before. So we pieced together a fuller story, and that then gives us the opportunity to share that information, and it has a wide impact. Over time, we hope to update what we have at the museum to show that. In the meantime, we have opportunities here with speakers and presentations. Neil just shared what he's put together so far at our February open house. And then he'll also be, I hope, at the Juneteenth event through West Bloomfield Parks, which I understand has grown and grown. So we hope to participate this year. We're actually just getting into the planning of that at the moment.
And with these special events like this presentation coming up on Wednesday, March 26th, 7 p.m. at the library, but also the display that's currently at the main library and will eventually, after this presentation at the end of March, be moving over to West Bloomfield Town Hall. It seems like the Historical Society is making a push to get some of these stories from our really interesting local history into the community even more. Why is that becoming more of a concerted effort and a direct, very visible effort from our Historical Society as you move forward?
Only because it's there. When Leslie Pilot began this program, they had a presentation with the 4 panels originally, and I was trying to think of when that was. It was in 2022, I believe, fall or spring, one of the others, held in Southfield, and they were a packed room full of people that were very interested. I attended the event with my husband, and we were very impressed by these panels, learned that they were in the community, and I tried to sign up for us to have them right away. That wasn't possible in that year, which I think was 2023. They were in other places in the community in 2024. So our turn popped up this time of year. And so they're in each community usually for 2 months is how they like to do it. So they'll keep exhibiting those panels. Since then, they received a grant and they had more information, so they were able to reproduce them. And now that there's 6 panels. So it has a little bit more information about West Bloomfield. We locally have more information than that as well. So you can only put so much on a panel, but it's pretty neat to see all the things that were going on in Oakland County.
Yeah, you can see
they also say there's a website to respond to and has more information there. So there's a wealth of information, or there's getting to be more and more information available. It's really about people's interests.
is. And you're seeing on your screen on civiccentertv.com if you're watching this, or if you go back and see it on demand. A look at some of those 6 panels. They're at the main library as we speak. They'll be there through the end of the month of March, and then they'll move over briefly to West Bloomfield Town Hall. So really a great opportunity to learn about our direct connection to the historical Underground Railroad that helped enslaved people go north from the enslaved South and into freedom, both here in the U.S. and especially through our local community, eventually making their way into Canada. Gina Gregory is with us on the Splash Live. She's the president of the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society, who is putting on a special presentation themselves at the West Bloomfield Library Wednesday, March 26th at 7 p.m. And Gina, this kind of goes back to the overall story of the Historical Society, which is volunteers in our community, our neighbors, our friends, our colleagues, collecting our history and telling our story over the course of years. And when we learn about history in class, we learn about those broad subjects, the Underground Railroad at the historical level for the entire U.S. and world history. But why does learning about your local history matter?
I think it connects you directly to where you are. And I just want to include that these panels will be at West Bloomfield Town Hall all of April, so the whole month that they'll be there during their regular business hours. So anybody, there's a public space, anybody can come in and look at them. I encourage folks to do that. The question was, why does local history matter? I mean, you're almost literally talking about the ground that you live on, or very close to. It's all so close. And I think that's just such a personal way to reflect and incorporate that history into your own life, to give you a sense of space and place and connection to your community. It's also something neighbors can share together. I live in a neighborhood that was developed in 1922, and people love to talk about their time living here and what things were like in the old days, so as well as currently. So it's a way to build community. I think it's one of the best ways to build community because everybody literally shares living here. So to me, that's the best thing, the best value that local history gives everybody.
And what's even better is that with the modern technology that we have, how interwoven all of our lives are day to day in Greater West Bloomfield and our neighboring communities, we're able to collect that history in a much more efficient way and tell those stories through the years. That's part of what the Historical Society is doing right now through its ongoing Collecting Memories effort. Give us a little insight on that and how people can participate in the collection of our local history.
Sure. So it really boils down to, it adds to the value of life of living here. You can learn so much about where you are, and I think that makes for a fuller experience. So we're very fortunate that the city of Orchard Lake Village, when they built their new building in 1987, they had the foresight to keep the building. At that time, the Historical Society had no permanent home, and they offered it to us to use as a space. And we've been so blessed to have that space, and we've used it well over the years. Our whole first floor is involved with, there's one small office space and the rest is all exhibit space, and then our collection is in the basement. So we're so appreciative of that. And to support our efforts, I hope that people come in and take a look. We're always have an open house the second Sunday of every month from 1 to 4, as well as one other time. So they can check at our website, gwbhs.org, to see what our current schedule is. They can become a member. You can do that very inexpensively. You can receive our newsletter, as well as our awesome social media that shares our local history right there close to home on your social media outlets. You can also become a sponsor of Apple Island Tours coming up. You can be a sponsor of an exhibit. You can be a sponsor of our website, and you can also give a planned giving donation. We would love to have more of those. There's many opportunities to connect with our community and show your appreciation, because none of this is free. Volunteers are having more going on in their lives. and less time to devote to history. So how do we keep that alive? And I always say, who's going to be the next president after myself? What's going to happen? What do we want as a community, and who can support us? We're very special because we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we do not fall under the purview of anybody to support us. So it's an interesting place to be. How can we keep history alive? Where can we store our collection? How can we share it? What works for this community? And I would hope that somebody takes up the task of planning that well to the future. Our board struggles with that all the time. How do we keep moving forward? And our answer is we just keep moving forward in the present. It'll always be up to the people at the moment to decide how this moves forward, as far as I can see. We've thought about it, but that's as far as we can take it. If anybody's willing to lend some thoughts to that or some resources, we would love to consider more.
And there's plenty of ways to get involved, as Gina just mentioned, and to get involved in learning about your historical connections to the community, how your neighborhood maybe has played a role in our local history, in our state's history, and in American history as well. Gina, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Once again, there's going to be a presentation with the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society taking place tonight at 7 p.m. at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library to go into more details on West Bloomfield's connection to the Underground Railroad. But big thank you to Gina for stopping by and for telling that information to Tyler Kieft. The Oakland Thrive Small Business Spotlight honors community and business leaders who support a thriving, inclusive, and vibrant economy. This fundraising event supports Oakland Thrive's work to support small businesses in Oakland County. Enjoy samplings and conversations with local, independently owned restaurateurs and retailers. And this event is open to all community members, small business owners, and anyone interested in shopping local with our featured vendors. West Bloomfield business consultant Jamar Bray recently spoke with us to tell us all about it. We have Oakland Thrive business consultant Jamar Bray joining us right now on The Splash. Jamar, happy to see you.
Happy to see you as well, Jake. How's everything?
Everything is great. Glad to have you with us and really interested in getting into this topic. So what is the primary mission of the Oakland Thrive Small Business Spotlight?
Yes, so this is a chance for a lot of our small business owners and also officials, all in the same room, and we can all network and fellowship. And also with a lot of our vendors there are also clients of Oakland Thrive who will also be selling their items as well. So it's a chance to also talk to them, listen to their story, see some awards for the community, but mainly there to understand the mission of Oakland Thrive and what we're here to do. And it's going to be a great time, man. I'm actually looking forward to it.
Sounds like a great time, and you guys should be very excited for this. It sounds like it's going to be great for so many of these small businesses all throughout Oakland County. And I want to ask, what criteria is used to select some of the honorees for something like this?
Yes, so just your work in the community and the things that the different areas that you're impacting, and what is your mission for the community? Just like Oakland Thrive, we are committed to helping small businesses throughout Oakland County. So we want to give those awards to those who are stand-up leaders in the community and those who are bringing communities together in their own special way. So, we're able to give out those awards. I can't give out who's winning an award right now, but I would say it's going to be a great time, and you'll be able to see those leaders that's in the community.
Awesome. I'm sure whoever's going to be getting these awards are going to be very, very excited. And I know you can't give us any information. I'm sorry?
Yeah, I wish I had one coming to me, but I'd take it. I'll be the one getting out the awards.
Well, you can't tell us who's getting the awards this year, but can you give us maybe some examples of some past businesses and leaders who've been recognized for something like this?
Yes, Nancy Quarles, who's the former one of the county commissioners, she was a award winner last year. Laura Dodd, who's actually was a part of Oakland Thrive. She was a winner. So those are the type of criteria, those who are leaders of organizations or even in the past who've really been committed to seeing the thriving community in Oakland County. And many of our awardees are people who actually were a part of Oakland Thrive from the beginning and who believed in our vision. So we are constantly looking for people who are believe in our mission, who wants to partner, and you get recognized during this time.
That's absolutely everything you should be looking for, and it is. You see so many of these examples every single day. Now, this is a fundraising event, and how does the fundraising aspect of this event directly support Oakland Thrives initiatives?
Yes, so this event is actually our fundraising event where we're able to actually, people can come in, donate if they can't attend, but also by purchasing a ticket, you'll actually be able to help us commit to the vision of helping small businesses, keeping costs low to no cost for an entrepreneur. And the only way to do that is having events like this where we can fundraise for the community and bring people together so they can actually see why their dollars are going to a great mission like ours. And, you know, we're going to continue to continue flourishing, but we have to continue to fundraise as well to, you know, create more programming and more trainings and more workshops and more partnerships.
Appreciate Jamar Bray coming by and telling us this information about Oakland Thrive's upcoming event that's going to be taking place on April 3rd. But that's going to do it for us today here on the Splash Live. I want to say a big thank you to all of our guests for stopping by today, and for Kevin McIntosh for all his work out in the field, and for everyone to help make this show as spectacular as it is. I've been your host, Jake Schaff. Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.